What's up guys, this is Ray, and today we're talking about the 2019 Japanese animated movie Children of the Sea, directed by Watanabe Ayumu, and it's based off of a manga originally written by Igarashi Daisuke. I haven't actually read the manga of Children of the Sea, but I've seen adaptations of Igarashi Daisuke's other work, namely Little Forest. Little Forest was adapted into a few movies, two of which came from Japan and one of which came from Korea. And this anime adaptation of Children of the Sea features the voice talents of Ashida Mana in the lead role, and also a sprinkle of other talents, some of which are Aoi Yu, Inagaki Goro, and Morisaki Win. But before we dive into this review, if you guys are new to Eiga-Man Ray, I upload reviews and discussions of movies from Japan or even inspired by Japan every chance that I get. So if you're new to the channel and you did the content, feel free to check out other videos here because you can help support the channel that way and also by subscribing. So back to the review. The story of Children of the Sea, it's about this girl by the name of Ruka, and she has a bit of trouble at home. She doesn't go well with her mom, and she also has a bit of trouble at school. She gets into fights during her club activities, so it's gotten to the point where she has nothing to do or nowhere to hang out during her summer vacation. So she decides to hang out at the aquarium in which her father works at, and it's there that she meets these two mysterious boys by the name of Umi and Sora. And these two, they're kind of weird, mysterious and strange. Like, apparently they were raised by dugongs. So these two boys, they're kind of strange, kind of weird, but they get along well with Ruka. And the three teens, they hang out a lot. And as we go along with the story, we see that they share some kind of weird connection with some mysterious phenomena that's going on with a world's aquatic life. Well, at least that's how it starts, and I don't want to say too much about the story because it gets pretty weird. So, I'll dive into it. First of all, when it comes to the positives of Children of the Sea, the animation quality, animation's beautiful. So many beautiful instances of just animated, not only things happening under the water, things happening in the ocean, but also the creatures that dwell in it. And I think just saying that the animation is beautiful in Children of the Sea, it's quite a bit of an understatement because there's a lot of stuff happening in some of the scenes here, other than just capturing, all the different creatures that are living under the sea, but and also having the kids interact with these creatures or just being amongst them. There's a lot of stuff happening and it looks amazing. It looks beautiful, especially when things start to get really intense and there's so many things on screen. I think that's probably the strongest point of the story is the quality of animation. And even the music is well done. We got music crafted by Hisaishi Joe, which, if you've ever seen any Ghibli movie, chances are you've heard Hisaishi Joe's work. He's just one of those names that if he's attached to create the soundtrack of a movie, that it's definitely worth listening. And another strong point is that the story, it knows how to grab your attention and take you on a thrill ride. There's a lot of ups and downs that the story leads you through, and there's just a lot of thrills along the way. It utilizes a combination of not only really beautiful animation, as what I said, but also combines it with a lot of mystery to the story. It's like not a lot of times, but the whole way through, you kind of don't know what's happening, and you're letting the story lead you through this wild ride all the way up until the very end. And without going too much into spoiler territory, the movie drastically changes from the start of the story to where it eventually goes. It takes drastic turns, like to directions that you wouldn't even expect for it to go through. Like, it starts off with your typical, girl who has issues that gets swept up in a story larger than herself, but then it turns into something much, much more. It goes on to explore huge themes, and even philosophical ideas, existential questions and whatnot. I mean, just the final, 20 or 30 minutes of this movie, I had no idea what was happening, and it was wild. I'm still, when I first watched Children of the Sea, I had to take a moment to just, after finishing the movie, to just process what the hell the final 20-30 minutes was about. Like, I think the direction the story goes to, I don't know if it's positive or negative, because it definitely surprised me. I love these kinds of stories. I just felt like Let me dive into that. And when it comes to the negatives of Children of the Sea, the characterization, just the way these characters were made, it's like, first of all, it's like, what was the point of them existing in this larger story? It starts off as, you can kind of feel the type of progression at first, at least, where the story is going to go, and the characters make sense for that. But after the story is completed, why is Ruka involved in this story? You don't really get to know that. And, her character journey doesn't exactly make sense within the context of this movie. Like, I felt like, it was weird trying to introduce Ruka and all the issues that she has going on, especially when the movie doesn't really take much effort into tying up any of those loose ends, to tying up any of those stories. Because, I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the story that Ruka has some problems at home. A lot of that has to do with, problems with her mom. It's not really clear if her mom is divorced from her dad or whatnot, because you kind of feel like she lives in a single parent home. They don't really do anything to resolve this kind of conflict going on with Ruka and her mom. You see it there. You see that there's some distance, and you see there's some kind of disconnect between her mom and everyone else in the story. But then suddenly it's fine somewhere down the road, where they don't really go through any kind of development. They just kind of, they're just okay for the sake of the story. And even all these issues that Ruka has going on in the beginning, there's no overall, it doesn't affect the overarching story in probably any way whatsoever. I think that's because the story just shifts focus into this journey that Ruka and Umi and Sora are going through in exchange for what I was describing in the last 20-30 minutes. I'm not going to exactly describe what happened, because I feel like that would just utterly ruin your experience in watching the movie, especially if you haven't seen it yet. But overall, what do I have to say about Children of the Sea? As much as I like the animation, the visuals, the music, I'm still kind of mixed with how I feel about it, because it takes you in a direction that you wouldn't expect. That could be positive or negative depending on the story, of course. But I felt like the direction that it took kind of just, I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me. I mean, I dug the kind of questions and ideas it was trying to throw at me in the last 20-30 minutes, but I felt like within the context of what it was building up to be, it almost didn't make sense. And by shifting into that direction, it dropped any kind of character development, any kind of characterization that it was trying to build up at the beginning of the story. One thing I do have to compliment is that it doesn't no effort to lead you by the hand. It asks the viewer to make their own kind of conclusion as to what everything is trying to tell you. So this is definitely not a typical run-in-the-mill anime movie to watch, especially if you're coming off the heels of, recent other famous movies, anything by Shinkai Makoto or even Hosoda Mamoru. Like, this movie is definitely not one to watch if you just want something fun in the background, because if you're not paying attention, especially the last half of the movie, things are just going to get wild and you're just going to get lost. But do I recommend Children of the Sea to watch? I'd say yeah. If you're an anime fan, you expect to follow some tropes until a certain point, and then expect to follow a really kind of complicated story towards the end. And just be prepared to be mind blown regardless. But anyways, yes, those are my thoughts on Children of the Sea. What did you guys think? Please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and also subscribe. Follow me on all the social media channels. And if you really dig my content, you can always hit the notification bell to be updated every time I upload a new video. And of course, check out my Patreon page, of which you can find a link in the description area below. And yeah, that's about it for me, guys. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my patrons for supporting me in anything and everything that I do. And for everyone, I'll catch you all again in the next video. Take it easy.